Hey everyone, Kurt with RC Digging 2401. This video is going to cover the track adjustment for the Komatsu 575 dozer. And it's a little bit of a job, but it's not too bad. So some of the things that you're going to probably want to have on hand is a 1.5 millimeter hex, and I made this guide pin here. It's in another video that I did, but it makes joining the two track sections a lot easier when it's time to put the track back on. I also use 243 medium strength Loctite. I think the removable Loctite just doesn't hold very well. I've got a 1.5 Elkin ball hex, but the ball stripped out, and I've got another one coming on Amazon, so I'm going to be using this and these going old school. And let's see, you want a 2 millimeter to take, these fasteners out so that you can separate the track. And when you do that, you're going to have a couple components here. One is the bushing, the other is the pin with the two hex fasteners. And so pull these out and hang on to them. So another thing that you're going to want to have on hand is a bar clamp, and that works really well for compressing the tensioner so that you can take the tension off your track. It also helps to have your blade all the way down and tipped forward to give room for the bar clamp. I've already done this side, which is the left side, and we'll switch over to the right side where I'm in the process of doing this. All right, so here we're on the right side, and I've got the track taken off, and a couple things that you need to do right away is right here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are 4 little 1.5 millimeter cap screws. Pull those out, and then on the underside, if I can get this phone in here, you can see it's the exact same setup, and you've got 4 cap screws to take out there. Those just support the axle for the idler wheel, and they slide back and forth as needed when you're operating the Komatsu. So what I do, I've already got a little gap here started. It kind of chips the paint off. But you just take a screwdriver, flat tip, pry that one off, and the same thing over there, and that'll expose the ends of the axle. When you get these two pieces off of the side that I was telling you about with the 4 Allen screws that goes right here, you'll have the axle, the end of the axle showing right here. I'm doing this one-handed, so just take your fingers and go on the back side and push it through. It might be a little tight, and you'll have to just kind of jiggle things around. So I got it pulled out, and here's your axle and your idler wheel. You've got bearings on both sides of the idler wheel, so just inspect those, make sure that they're good to go. And while you're at this point, there's these guards right here, and I've experienced mine comes loose every now and then. And so there's a 1.5 millimeter hex here, here, and right there on the end. And there's also an identical one right here on the other side. And so just check those, make sure that they're tight. If they're not, put some Loctite on, and that'll hold it nice and firm. Now we're at the meat and potatoes of this entire task. So right here is your idler assembly, and there isn't much to it. Run your blade all the way up. It'll give you room to slide this out, and back in the arm is your main spring that this sits against. So what you have is that little set screw. That's also a 1.5. And loosen that up, and you can screw this end out if you want to put more tension in, or you can thread it into the piston here if you want to take off tension. So I've already done mine, and I put mine at 3/16 of an inch. And I tried it on the other side that has a track on it. I kind of like that, and so I'm going to stick with that. For me, when I first got my 575, the tracks were really loose on it. I'm sure a lot of you have experienced the same. And so I put some tension into it. It was too much. So now I'm decreasing the tension, and 3/16 of an inch seems to be where it needs to be. So get your 1.5, tighten that back down. Otherwise, it needs to be at least flush, if not recessed. Mine sits recessed a little bit to lock that piece down here a little bit so it doesn't continue to unscrew. And once you've got it set where you want it to be, just slide this back in. Again, kind of doing this one-handed, looking through the camera. It's not that efficient. All right, I'm going to have to pause this. So it's back in, and it's time to throw the idler wheel and the axle back in. So the idler wheel is in. Give it a little spin. Bearings are great. And we will put these plates back on the end. And I guess I didn't show you, but there's a hole here in the center, obviously for the axle, and it holds everything in position. All right, got the Loctite on this one. I'm just going to screw that baby in there and snug it down. Again, it's just a 1.5 millimeter, and we'll do the same for the rest of these three holes, and then we'll do it on the other side as well. The axle covers in on both sides, so we're good to go there. Where is it here? Okay. So now it's time to throw the track on. Now I've found that this is probably a good place to be able to put that pin in. So run your blade down pretty far so that it gives you room for the head of your bar clamp. And then get your bar clamp on your track so you can compress the tensioner. And then at this point, we'll put a ratchet strap on there and then remove the bar clamp. So here's the bushing. I just put it on, 1.5 millimeter driver. And this is the part that kind of sucks, is you drop it, oh shit, right there, and it kind of rolls around. And it takes a little finagling to get the bushing in place so that you can slide the guide pin I wonder if that might do it. So here's the guide pin I was talking about. Just kind of got a tapered point so it aligns everything easier. All right, it took a little bit of finagling, but I got the guide pin in, and it has started going through the bushing. You can see that right down in here. And so I'm just going to push it in the rest of the way, and then I'll take the track pin and push it through on the back side of the bushing, and hopefully everything will just stay aligned and go right where it needs to be. Yeah, we don't have a lot of room here, but maybe I'll just try it on this side. All right, well, that was close. There we go. All right. Now I'll just roll the tracks back a little ways so that I can get an Allen on the backside and Loctite it, and that'll be it. All right, I think I like this tension so far. You know, it's not real tight, and I think it'll give a little bit more room for when dirt gets packed into the sprocket and it's time to hit these clean out holes. But before it was so tight that, you know, it would bind and literally would not go anywhere. So it's nice to have reduced some of the tension on this. But, you know, we'll give it a try, run it in the indoor pit, and see what it does. Thanks for watching.